that was such a unique run to open on all of those offensive players, and how did you navigate that into the pick?
I think because of the what was it, 6 QBs? I think 6 QBs, all the offense,
12,
it definitely pushed, defense our way. So we always felt like Jared had a chance to get there, but there was definitely a chance for him to go right before us, depending on how that whole thing shook out. But I think the heavy offense and probably 6 QBs go and help Jared get to us.
What impressed you the most about Jared, especially if he could have come out last year, he elected to come back to school for another year?
You know what? The cool thing about him is where he started, Albany, transferred to Florida State, might have gone about where he went tonight last year. But he decided to stay back. I can't tell you about him. He's just one of those guys that you want to just watch another game on, because he's going. He just, you can tell he cares about football. He has fun playing football. And oh, by the way, he's pretty disruptive, violent. You think defense? The way he plays is next to the word in the dictionary.
You said he has some big shoes to fill in replacing Aaron. I know you've said time and time again there won't be one player, but how do you envision his role?
Oh, man, those are some big cleats to fill there. I've always said that. It's neat that I get, he's aware of who we lost, who retired. That's pretty cool. That means he's astute and thinking about football, but we're not going to ask him to replace Aaron. But we'll definitely ask him to help our football team.
Do you guys view him as stand-up outside linebacker or hand in the ground in your defensive end? Like, what does that look like?
I've been talking too much. I think Sean needs to answer.
No, go ahead. See what you want to say to that. I kind of like this, man.
Sean's thinking 13
no, he's going to
end.
play on the edge. He's got the ability to reduce down, but Les said it. I mean, he's got a lot of versatility. I mean, you watch the way that he plays. He's got, great hands. He's violent. He's got a, versatile, arsenal of moves that he can activate, but he plays the game the way that we want it to be played. We're looking for grown men on defense, and I think you've seen a lot of the guys that we've added through free agency, and then with the first pick tonight, he was one of the guys that we had targeted, and feel really good coming away with him, and he's going to make a big impact. He'll be in the outside linebacker room.
Like Kobe and Byron, he had to start out his career at a lower level in college and bring his way up. What does that career path tell you about a player?
It's a good question. Not sure I know all the answers. What is neat is with the portal and all that goes on, players that say, hey, you know what, I want to try to play at a level higher, the next level of the video game, and then to go there and continue playing well. That's definitely, that means something, shows something. The competitiveness of it could have stayed at the similar level and probably dominated, but decided to move up a level and still dominate. So there's something to that.
Watching those offensive players go off the board the way that they did, was there any temptation for you guys to try to get up into that run?
Who's our guy from Reddit? Oh, man. Man, we tried to get in there and get that tackle. What's the guy's name?
Dangling.
Oh, Dangling Fury. You got to love him.
You're a beauty.
But what was that like for you, going through a first round and
It was good. I mean, last year there was opportunities for us to potentially try to go up. So it's been a similar path, and even our second year, even though we were picking 31 and then we just kept inching back before we took Taylor Rapp. So, I mean, they do such a great job of preparing us. We're a little bit later to the party in terms of evaluating the guys. But here's what I could say is really good about the way this shook out. There was a lot of planning. There was a lot of contingency plans. This was one of the things that we had really hoped was going to work out. There's some other scenarios that we had really talked through just based on 31 other teams having a say. But to address an outside edge rusher that can affect and influence the game, we're never going to ask anybody to replace Aaron, but you do want to continue to build the front, continue to be able to do those types of things, and Jared represented opportunity to do that. And we did feel like, there was maybe not quite as deep of an outside linebacker group, and so to be able to get a player of his caliber was really encouraging, and everybody was fired up about that.
You guys have always been able to have good quality and chemistry when it comes to selecting players, not just what they do on the
Yeah, Nick, I mean, Les and his group do such a great job with the vetting. You know, those area scouts, they've been working on these guys for a long time. But I think when you go back to his journey, a guy that's just continued to get better throughout his career. He started at Albany. You look at what he's done at Florida State. Even watching the trajectory of the season, I thought he played his best ball as the season progressed. And that, to me, says a lot about him, especially when they had the injury to their quarterback. And really, you could see their defense put that team on their back to help them have a really special season. But the way he plays the game from the first snap to the last snap of the game, he wears people down. He's physical. He's violent. His football character shows up on the tape, and then when you hear about the way he's wired, way he interacts with his teammates, those are all things that we're looking for, and those are the types of people that we want when we want to be Rams. And he certainly checks a lot of those boxes, and now the work starts.
A couple more guys. Interaction like with Jared through the pre-draft process, and did you have an individual workout with your defensive line coach or?
No, we didn't do any privates with him. He was one of those guys we tried to somewhat keep under the radar. Except a lot of mocks felt like we might, go that way, go defense. So we try to, go stealth with it. But like Sean mentioned, he's one of those players that from the vetting process, he was really one of. It's all subjective, but one of our higher rated guys in terms of intangibles off the field, and also it transcends to when you rate some things that are not necessarily physical talent, but let's call it competitiveness on the urgency on the field. He rated very, very high. So he was one of those guys. We have something where the coaches and scouts can say, look, make this guy a Ram, and he was one of the probably top 3 players in terms of stamping. We want this guy to be a Ram. And that's kind of an all things considered, right? That's not just you're really good on the grass on Saturdays. That's going to be, hey, you're going to be really good, really 365 days a year.
For both of you, how do you, traits-wise, how do you see him complement and or supplement Byron Young on the other side?
Yeah, well, I think, you got, he and Michael Hoyt did a really good job. They played a lot of snaps. I think that's to be determined. I think, we are going to start him out on the edge. He'll play outside linebacker in our base defense. He'll play end. He does have some flexibility to be able to slide and reduce down and play over a guard. But I think we'll see. We'll get him in here. We'll see how he adjusts. Obviously, the tape at Florida State is really encouraging, Jordan. But we've got a lot of work to do, and we're glad to be able to get to work with him. And I think I'll have a better answer for you once we have a little bit of time with him.
What's it like when you make that phone call? What did you say to him?
Well, it's been 8 years.
We had trouble getting him on the phone at first. It wasn't his fault. We had the wrong damn number.
We got the wrong
One
number.
digit off.
One digit off. So he got a little nervous and hairy. But what was he's known as a, if you want to call it, hey, he takes life serious. He's intentional about life, and wasn't overly celebrate. But watching him, I think on whatever network you're watching when he got drafted, you can see he was jacked. But you can tell when you talk to him, he's a steady dude.
Yeah. All right. Tomorrow it gets going again. Thanks, guys.